Okay, so this is round 2. D9 on the left, D8 on the right. D9 has been hit in the gym for the rematch, and it's got the firmware update applied. So now we're going to see if that extra time in the gym has beefed up the output. So here we go. We're going to start at 40%, and we'll start on the left with the D9, and then we'll go up to 80%, and then we'll also go up to 100% and see what we got. Here we go. EQ1 on both speakers. Okay, now I can tell right away that that definitely helped the D9, the firmware update. It's got a little more meat to the sound at lower volumes as opposed to the way it was before. Actually, it's got better clarity too than the D8. So right there at 40%, at least with that song, the W King D9 definitely sounds like it's improved greatly. Now we'll go up to 80%. Now also bear in mind with this that most people generally prefer the EQ2, at least from what I've heard and seen, on the D8. So we're using the EQ1, so it's 1-to-1. So I will do, after this, I will do the EQ2 against the W King D9's EQ1. But anyway, this is 80% both on EQ1, and we're starting with the D9.
Get that money, money, money. I don't know that money, 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 money. Do it all for money, money, money. Let me stack that money, money.
Okay, now the D8 is not faring as well as it did before the firmware update on the D9. The D9, it has a brighter sound, but an EQ1, which is in now, it doesn't have too bright of a sound. It has pretty good detail, and it definitely has more clarity and range than you get from the D8. Like the vocals, you can hear just the minimal vocals, and that are more present and forward than they are in the D8. Now I'm going to switch the D8 to EQ2 mode and do that same song. So here we go, still at 80%. EQ2 on the D8, EQ1 on the D9, starting with the D9.
Come on, get that money. 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 I don't need that money. 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 Do it all for money. 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 Let me take that money. Money.
Okay, so when you put the D8 in EQ2 mode, it gets louder. As you can see there, it's about the same output as the D9 volume-wise, but you lose some of the deeper bass on the D8 when you go to EQ2 mode. So it's a trade-off. You want more bass, you want more output. Whereas the D9 has the same kind of output, and the bass, of course, is staying the same because it's in the same EQ mode, but you're not losing. It's like an either-or thing with the D8. You have to choose one or the other. Whereas the D9 has pretty good clarity, pretty good, and it has loud output, and the bass has improved. So now we're going to do EQ2 against EQ2, so you can see what that is at 80%. EQ2 on both speakers, 80%.
Come on, get that money. 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 I don't need that money. 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 Do it all for money. 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 Let me take that money. Money. Money.
So they definitely, with the firmware update, it helped EQ2 in the bass department. Of course, it's still not as strong as the first EQ, but before, the second EQ was really, really bright and really weak on bass. So I think the firmware update is a big improvement for the speaker in general, more so for EQ1 than EQ2, but both of them benefited from the firmware update. Now I'm just going to go up to 100%, and I'm going to change it back to the W King back to EQ1. So 100% D9 EQ1, D8 EQ2.
EQ1. You away from me. I need you to stay right there. I'm coming right away, my dear. I tried this, tried that. Coming right back. Won't you away from me? I need you to stay right there. I'm coming right away, my dear.
So there you go, everybody. The firmware, in my opinion, is a worthy update if you want to do it. If you're satisfied with the the D9 as it is, don't worry about it. for me, it improved it noticeably. Now I was kind of disappointed in it in general. Now I'm not disappointed in it. It gets loud, as you could hear there. It retains its bass. It always did kind of liven up before the firmware update when it got louder, but now when you're in the lower volumes, it still has very good depth to the sound that it lacked previously. So that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the firmware update. That's what it did to it. Hope that helps. I hope answers some questions for you. That's a wrap. We're out.